Let's travel back to March 2020. Do you remember the silence? The streets of New York, London, and Tokyo were empty. Small businesses shuttered their windows. Waiters, pilots, and factory workers were sent home, not knowing if they would ever have a job to return to. The global economy didn't just slow down, it stopped dead in its tracks. By all logical metrics, this should have been the beginning of a decade-long depression. If no one is working and no one is buying, the value of the economy should crash. But then, the oddest thing happened. While the real world was bleeding, the financial world began to party. Within months of the global lockdown, the S&P 500 didn't just recover, it broke all-time records. The housing market, which should have collapsed due to lack of income, suddenly exploded. And perhaps most frustratingly, we saw a new class of instant millionaires emerge from nowhere. Teenage crypto traders buying Lamborghinis, digital pictures of monkeys selling for millions of dollars, luxury watch prices doubling while bread lines stretched around the block. In the year 2020 alone, while millions of people applied for unemployment benefits, the world's billionaires increased their collective wealth by $3.9 trillion. How does that make sense? How can the rich get exponentially richer when the world is effectively ending? Many people call this a conspiracy. Some call it late-stage capitalism. But if you truly want to understand how the machine works, you need to learn the name of the mechanic. This phenomenon is called the Cantillon Effect, and once you understand it, you will never look at a price tag the same way again. The origin. Gold mine analogy. To decode this, we have to look at the plumbing of our financial system. Most people operate under a myth. The myth is that money is neutral. We believe that $1 in my pocket is worth the same as $1 in the pocket of a hedge fund manager. But in the 18th century, an Irish-French banker named Richard Cantillon wrote a manuscript that exposed a secret. He realized that money is not just a store of value, it is a flowing liquid, and like a river, where the water enters matters. Cantillon used the example of a gold mine. Imagine a new gold mine is discovered in your town. The owners of the mine and the miners themselves get the gold first. They are rich. They go out and spend this new gold on meat, wine, and clothes. Because they have so much new money, they are willing to pay higher prices. The butcher and the tailor see their sales go up, so they raise prices. Now, imagine you live in the next town over. You don't work at the mine, you haven't seen any of this new gold yet, but suddenly when you go to the market, the meat and clothes are twice as expensive because the miners bought everything up. By the time the gold finally reaches your town, years later, prices have already risen. The miners got rich by spending the money before prices went up. You got poor because you received the money after prices went up. The modern heist, the Fed and insiders. Fast forward to today. We don't use gold mines anymore, we use central banks. In 2020, the United States Federal Reserve printed nearly 40% of all US dollars in existence in just under 2 years. That is an ocean of new money flooding the river. But who is standing at the source of the river? Who are the modern-day miners? It isn't you. The government does not mail fresh checks to every citizen equally. The injection point of new money is the financial sector. The Federal Reserve buys bonds from heavyweights like J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock. This is called quantitative easing. These institutions are the Cantillon Insiders. They get the money first at near 0% interest rates. It's practically free money. And what do they do with it? They don't buy groceries, they don't pay rent, they buy assets. They pour billions into the stock market, inflating the price of tech companies. They pour billions into real estate, buying up single-family homes to rent back to you. They pour money into speculative assets. This creates an artificial boom. This is why in 2021 we saw the absurdity of the everything bubble. Stocks, crypto, watches, cars, houses, everything went up in value simultaneously. It wasn't that these things became more valuable. A house built in 1990 didn't magically become better in 2020. It's simply that the currency became less valuable and the insiders had more of it to throw around. The K-shaped trap. Imagine the letter K. The vertical line is the crisis. Then the paths diverge. The upper arm of the K goes up. These are the asset owners, the wealthy, the people who own stocks and real estate. The inflation of the money supply inflates their net worth. They feel like geniuses. They think they got rich because they are smart investors. In reality, they just rode the wave of new money. But look at the bottom arm of the K. That goes down. This is the working class, the wage earners, the savers. For the average person, income comes from wages. Wages are sticky. That is an economic term, meaning they do not change quickly. When the money printer turns on, asset prices instantly rise. But your salary? That might go up 3% next year if you're lucky. This is the Cantillon trap. Let's look at the data. From 1989 to 2021, the top 1% of Americans increased their total wealth by $29 trillion. The bottom 50%? They barely moved. This isn't just about envy, it's about survival. Consider the housing market. This is the most painful example for anyone under the age of 40. In the 1970s, a house cost about 3 times the average annual salary. Today, in many major cities, it costs 10 to 15 times the average annual salary. Why? Because you are competing against the Cantillon Insiders. When a firm like BlackRock borrows money at 2% interest to buy a neighborhood, they drive the prices up. You, trying to save money from your paycheck, are bringing a knife to a nuclear war. Your savings are melting ice cubes. The 2020 crisis laid this bare. We saw luxury car dealerships running out of inventory while food banks were running out of food. This distorts society itself. It rewards speculation and punishes production. The societal decay, gambling for survival. Think about it. Why work hard to build a business or provide a service if you can make more money in a month trading meme coins or flipping contracts than your parents made in a lifetime of labor? The Cantillon Effect teaches young people that working is for losers. It teaches them that the only way to escape is to gamble. This is why we see such high-risk behavior in the markets today. It's not greed, it's desperation. People sense that the game is rigged, so they are trying to find a cheat code. So is this a crime? Technically, no. It is policy. Central bankers will tell you they had to do it. They will say that without printing that money, the system would have collapsed, and they might be right. But they rarely mention the cost. The cost was a massive, silent transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. Inflation is a tax that is never voted on. You didn't vote to have your purchasing power cut in half over the last decade, but it happened anyway. Every time the government prints $1 billion, they are diluting the value of the dollars in your pocket. They are stealing a fraction of your time, your labor, and your life energy. The cold reality. So, where does this leave us? We are currently in a strange period. Interest rates have risen, trying to soak up some of that flood, but the damage is done. The prices have set at a new normal. That house is not going back to $20,000. That burger is not going back to $5. The Cantillon Effect is a feature, not a bug. It is designed to prioritize the banking system over the real economy. Understanding this is your only defense. You cannot rely on saving cash under your mattress. In a Cantillon system, cash is trash. The only way to preserve your energy is to own things that cannot be printed, scarce assets, things that the central bank cannot create with a keystroke. The crisis of 2020 was a wake-up call. It showed us that in the modern economy, proximity to the printer is the only thing that matters. The ink is flowing, the river is rising, and if you are standing downstream waiting for a trickle, you are going to drown. Look at the cash in your wallet right now. It looks the same as it did yesterday, but while you were sleeping, someone printed more of it. Someone else got to spend it first, and by the time you spend it, a tiny piece of your life has already been stolen. The printer is still running, and you are still waiting.